Hey everyone, I'm Gary McLean, and you are watching Talent Talk. Thanks for tuning in. But before I get started on today's guest, I just wanted to give a little reminder for everyone about our guest co host contest that is running now till November 14th. Please have a look at our pin post on the Talent Talk Facebook page, as well as the official Talent Talk page at talenttalkmedia.ca for more details. Today's guest, he's a Calgary based singer songwriter who's making himself a name in the local music scene. He's actually our first musical guest, which is very cool, in my opinion. He's had the opportunity to share the stage with numerous artists, including Colorado's Taylor Scott Band, as well as the Juno Award winners MonkeyJunk and Jim Byrnes. In 2019, he was the recipient of the Calgary Blues Festival Randy Ouston Memorial Award and performed with his band at the festival. He's also honored with the Zackariah and the Prophet's Emerging Artist Award at the 2019 YYC Music Awards. Him and his band do have an EP release coming soon, and we will definitely be chatting on that as the show goes on. And with any luck, we'll have a song or two played as well. So please join me in welcoming Marcus Trummer of the Marcus Trummer Band.
How's it
Morning,
going?
Marcus.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. This is good. This is like morning for me as a musician.
Right? Yeah, I know. I said it even a little early for myself, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, how long have you and the band been together right now so far?
Yeah, so the band's been together for it's been over 2 years kind of playing. And then we didn't have the original bass player like we don't have the same bass player as we did 2 years ago, but we changed bass players, and yeah, we've been kind of stuck ever since. I think going on almost 2 years now. So it's
Okay,
been fairly recent, but we've done a lot since we formed. So
definitely. Like in the 2 years. That's not a long time. And how'd you guys get together? Like, are you schoolmates or?
yeah, we my brother is the drummer. My younger brother Silas, and then I got Carl. I met. He's our bass player. Kind of through school band programs. We didn't go to the same school, but they crossed over at some point, one of the music festivals or whatever. And then Lyndon is the other guitar player. We met at the National Music Center. They were hosting a jam club for youth, and that's kind of I've been going there kind of since I was young. Like 12, 13. Sort of played a big role in me learning guitar and kind of becoming decent at music, and that's where I first met Lyndon, and yeah, it worked out good. I didn't really know what it was going to turn into at first. We kind of just got together and played a gig, and then kind of went from there. We started getting more, and yeah, we stuck together, so it's been good.
Okay. And was guitar your first instrument, or what was your first?
Um, yeah, I think it's the first instrument that I took serious. I I I learned a bit of the trombone actually. This was through school, and I was big into like the jazz stuff, and so I don't I think I actually started trombone a little bit before guitar, but slowly over time, guitar definitely took over and was my main thing. I like it a lot, so.
Right. Yeah. No, fair enough. You actually come from a little bit of a musical family in a way, right? Like your dad was pretty big into jazz and as
Yeah,
well as if I remember correctly. So
yeah, that was definitely had an impact on it as well. My dad plays guitar and jazz and blues and stuff, and my mom's also into like she always stayed in community bands playing. She plays the oboe actually, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, so I always kind of had that musical influence, and I think that definitely was part of the reason why I ended up taking it up myself for sure.
do they jam with you at all?
Pardon?
Do they jam with you at all or play with you?
Yeah, I mean, my dad especially. Like in the beginning, he tried to teach me guitar, and then I don't know, I didn't really like it that much. Like something weird about your parent, like kind of trying to teach you something. So I had to kind of start it on my own. But then after that, I went back to him, and he showed me some stuff, and yeah, now we're showing each other stuff. I'm showing him stuff. He's showing me stuff. It's cool.
Nice. Nice. So how old do you think you were when you actually first started doing anything musical?
Yeah. Anything musical. It's been most of my life, I would say. I grew up like singing, and I was a part of some choirs and a part of like the church and all that stuff. So it went from there. Yeah, and I started getting into like the kind of like performing arts. Totally different from what I do now, but I was in a little bit of acting as you've heard, and then we went from there. And I think I was maybe 12 or 13 when I started getting into music, and I was playing guitar, and then I began writing songs, which kind of changed everything for me, and I kind of devoted all my focus to playing music and making music. So
Right, right. And with your brother Silas as your drummer, are you guys relatively collaborative when it comes to that kind of stuff, like the actual music writing and
yeah,
um,
he's it's definitely it's a it's a cool vibe to have your brother in the band with you, because sometimes you can kind of be a little bit more honest. You can you know so the actual writing of the band, I take on like most of it. I do all the lyrics, and I'll usually come with like a song that's like almost complete, and then my brother or other members of the band tend to have a bit of an impact on it for sure. And definitely the way that the listener finally hears it is definitely impacted by the band. So yeah, it's super cool. I think it is a bit of a collaborative aspect. My phone just dropped.
all
Sorry.
good? So it's not like Oasis where you're constantly at each other's throats or anything like that.
No, it's usually pretty chill. Other than, I mean, like we definitely have our disagreements from time to time, and it's a little bit different being brothers. We can definitely there's some rehearsals where we we both leave pissed at each other, but we'll come back and an hour or two start jamming again. So yeah,
Right. So I kind of like to touch on just from that intro that we gave there. For
yeah.
example, working with like MonkeyJunk and Jim Byrnes. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and how that all came to fruition to begin with?
Yeah, that was definitely um, the both of those experiences were some, I want to say, some of the most impactful for me coming up. So the Monkey Junk opportunity, it was with originally with Blues at the Bow. They were having Monkey Junk perform, and um, I had kind of sent out a message to them, just like um, shot in the dark, hoping maybe they'd have me open for them. I'd actually met Steve Mariner, who's their front man, a little bit earlier, and this was through Cindy McLeod at the Calgary Blues Festival. When I won their Emerging Artist Award, she kind of introduced me to a lot of people within, I guess, the national blues and roots scene. So I was able to meet Steve, and then I reached out to Blues at the Bow, which is in Bow Island, and that ended up being one of the best gigs I've played thus far. Just it was a sold out crowd. Like I think it's like 300 people, but like it was pretty cool. And yeah, I definitely have a lot of respect for Steve and that band, especially. You know, I was able to sit down with Steve. Cindy McLeod kind of lined this up, and this was also the same way I met Jim Byrnes. It was through the Blues Fest. And both times I got to actually sit down and almost have a lesson, but it ended up kind of just turning into us, you know, talking about music and giving me advice and showing me a few things on guitar too and stuff. But yeah, so that's how both of those came to happen, which is pretty sweet. I got to open for them, and they both I think both have won multiple Junos in the blues realm.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's very cool. Were you kind of so how long ago was this, by the way? It was like 2019 or 2018?
It was 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Were you a little bit starstruck, or was it kind of par for the course type thing?
Not like super starstruck, because I actually didn't really know like these guys had Junos and stuff. I just kind of I'd heard their music before a little bit and like liked it, and obviously, but yeah, never really starstruck, and they treated me super cool, which was sweet, and definitely thankful. But I mean, Steve Mariner a little bit, just because one of my heroes when I was first learning guitar was Colin James, and then Steve actually plays harmonica on tour with him, you know, all across Canada, Jubilee size places. So meeting him was kind of cool. I'm thinking about that, but
Have you had a chance to meet Colin James at all?
I haven't met him. No,
No.
Yeah, I think a couple of times. I'm trying to. It's
Yeah.
never
Okay.
worked out, you know. Because I know Steve fairly well now, and yeah, I think the last time they were playing, I was supposed to go meet him before a sound check, and then the I think his driver ended up being late or something, and like
Right.
it's not a good situation. So
It'll come.
eventually,
It'll come, I'm sure.
for sure.
So I do want to kind of get to one of your songs here fairly quick.
Yeah.
Which I believe is part of your EP that's going to be released as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the title of that EP is?
So it's gonna be called These Roads, and yeah, it's 4 songs.
And what do you have a release date on that?
Not a specific one, but it'll be out mid-November.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, I'd like to lead into one of those songs, which is "Keep On." The song's titled "Keep On." Can you tell us a little bit about the song? Just what the motivation was behind that, or anything like that?
Yeah, the "Keep On" was kind of written. It was written kind of originally about being a kind of young up and coming musician, and kind of morphed into life. So applies to anyone, but it's just kind of, you know, keep on maintaining a positive attitude towards things, and you know, sometimes things don't always work out as you imagine, but you know, as long as you're just living life and taking it one day at a time, definitely that's all that matters. So that's kind of what this song's about.
Awesome.
And it's the first track off the EP. First track on the EP, I should say. Yeah, I'll give you a little sample. Lady, all I had questions. Too many answers that I need. I've been wondering aimlessly, but you just keep on blaming me. Well, is that the where life's supposed to be. Say that love is always able. Sometimes don't seem that way. When it feels like I've been here so long, waiting for the day to come along. Something always seems to go wrong. Never know. That's why I sing this song. Even if we keep on moving slowly, and we're gonna keep on moving on. Oh, even if we keep on moving slowly, yeah, we're gonna keep on moving on. Keep on. So write yourself an ultimatum. Try and pick up your pieces of the broken pie. And you let the past aside. Future's bright, you can try to take, but it don't seem right. And one of them seems worth the fight. But if you try, sometimes it might just turn it right. 'Cause even if you keep on moving slowly, yeah, we're gonna keep on moving on. Yeah, keep on moving slowly. Yeah, we're gonna keep on moving on. Keep on moving slowly. Yeah, we're gonna keep on moving on. Even if we keep on moving slowly. Yeah, we're gonna keep on moving on. Keep on. All right. Oh.
Unfortunately, I was muted there for a second. So thanks for that, man. I appreciate that. That was awesome.
Yeah, of course.
So that is coming off your upcoming EP, which I'm just going to throw the poster up here.
Yeah.
Marcus Trummer Band, These Roads EP. Release date not quite specified, but keep an eye out for that for sure.
Yep.
Fantastic song, and I know it's not really available for people to listen to right now on a recording level, but do you guys play it live?
Yeah, we definitely we play that one. We usually end the show with. So if you come see us live, you have to stick around to the end. But yeah, we've been lucky to get a few gigs now since COVID, which is nice. You know, sometimes it's a little bit weird, you know, with plexiglass and stuff. Whatever they need to do to meet the COVID guidelines. But yeah, we're playing a few shows now. Our next one's next Saturday, actually, at Mikey's on 12th. So that's part of our single release that we're that's the first single off this EP. It's another song I might get to later, but yeah.
Okay, no, that's awesome. And geez, I had another question for that. It was regarding that EP.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll
talk a bit about the EP if you like.
For sure, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how long were you in the studio for that?
Yeah, we recorded it in about a day and a half, actually. So fairly quick. There's only 4 songs on it, though. 2 of the songs are over, I think, 7 minutes long. So it's definitely not a short piece of music. But yeah, we went to Studio D in Calgary, worked with Steve Durkins, who's actually a really great producer and engineer. He's originally from LA, and he I think he got his start doing like I don't know exactly what, but mixing and music as part of movies. So Disney and a few other companies down there, and then he ended up moving up here, and he has a really nice studio in his house, and we pounded it out in a day and a half, and we had Mike Little play organ on our record, because like I think for our style, kind of like southernish rock blues, organ's a must. So we got him. He's one of the best in the local scenes. Plays with a lot of the big guys, a lot of the touring country artists as well. So yeah.
And do you have a band that you figure, or you kind of put into like your biggest influence category, or do you just kind of pull from different?
Yeah, it depends. I think it's changed. It's constantly changing and evolving where my influences are, but definitely I'm definitely really into kind of like bands that pull from a lot of kind of different genres to make their own sound. So kind of, you know, the Allman Brothers Band is one of them that originally got me into like that kind of southern blues, rock, soul music, kind of all together. And then there's I definitely got into each genre individually. So definitely blues, especially on the guitar side, BB King, and then the soul music as well. That's probably definitely had an impact on the singing. And then yeah, what I like to listen to is like rock and roll and folk and country. So
Okay.
But definitely with that background in blues and soul and rhythm and blues and stuff.
For sure. And when I was, because I had a chance to actually listen to Keep On previously, and this is going to lead into another question as well. One thing I kind of pulled out of it, which you can totally correct me if I'm off base here, but I actually got a hint of Black Crowes with your singing.
Okay,
is there
cool.
any influence there?
I'm a really big fan of the Black Crowes for sure. That's kind of I definitely I definitely take a bit of my singing from them too, I would say. That's kind of like that rock and roll music that I like, but it pulls from a lot of the old stuff, like their biggest song, right, Hard to Handle, or one of their biggest songs. That's originally Otis Redding cover. So
right. Yeah. No, that's very cool. The other thing I actually wanted to point out was you actually do a live show like once a week, right? Right now on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
And did that kind of start due to COVID?
Yeah.
Or is that something you were doing before?
No, I wasn't doing it before. I had I jumped on the trend when COVID hit back in March. I think I took a month or two to figure out maybe I want to try this live stream thing, and so I did I've been doing it on Facebook and Instagram weekly. And originally I didn't really, I don't know, I felt kind of weird about it, right? It's really weird to talk to a camera, and I would have guests on it too. So you'd kind of like this. We'd talk back and forth, share songs back and forth. I don't know if you're gonna share a song for us or not, but
No, not me personally. No, that'd be a bad thing. What days do you do that, and what time? Just in case folks watching maybe want to pop on and
yeah,
check it out.
yeah, do that on Monday nights, Monday Night Live, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and yeah, I plan to continue doing them for a while. Hopefully, we're still gigging and it's getting busy again for us, thankfully. But I think they've been good. They've been really cool because I've started to reach a few people kind of outside. I've got some Americans that tune in every week, which is really cool. So
yeah, that is very cool. And where do you foresee yourself? Like right now, you're kind of localized, Calgary. Is the intent to eventually start your traveling across Canada and then move on from there type deal, or?
Yeah, I think it's definitely, one step at a time, but definitely the kind of the ideal thing would be a national touring act eventually. Definitely, I mean, I've started to get interest in the US playing down there, but who knows when that'll be. Because a lot of my music is a little bit more popular down there, but it depends on regions and stuff. So, but just, touring, even Europe, there's a lot of blues festivals in Europe eventually would be nice. But yeah, definitely like what I've always aspired to is playing live for people. So, the COVID thing really sucked for me, but we're being creative. We, like I was saying, with the plexiglass, and even though it's not as many people, all the venues are half capacity now. Doesn't really matter to me. So that's kind of my future too. I don't really, I'm not too worried if it's thousands of people I'm playing for, or just 100 people. So just hope to share my music and keep doing it full time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's most musicians' goal. I think for the most part.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, there was some. Yeah, sorry, just one sec here.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah, no, actually, I wanted to talk about the emerging artist award actually a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was last year as well, right?
Yeah, that was. It was almost a full year ago now that I won it. It's part of the YYC Music Awards where they presented it. But it's funded by the Profits of Music, which is a local organization. It was they made it in memory. There was, I don't know if you know, a tragedy a few years back. There was a house party, I think, university house party, and there was tragically multiple murders, and there's a band, the Zackariah and the Prophets, and they unfortunately lost. I think it was 2 members, and very sad. And the award was started in memory of them, and we I guess it was given to me, but benefits the band as well, and it's kind of to recognize up and coming talent and kind of people who are working hard to kind of make it kind of like this band was. And it's been a huge honor to receive that. I actually had the opportunity to work at OCL Studios and record 3 songs there through this, which was super cool. And also there's some mentorship opportunities. So I'm definitely blessed to have gotten that opportunity for sure.
Yes, and I do remember that incident. Very unfortunate. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's interesting that that award show kind of came out of that. I wouldn't have tied the two, but
Yeah, I think the award show is separate, but they present it at the award show. So the
right.
yeah,
Okay. Um, oh my goodness, I'm having a lot of brain farts today. I gotta tell you,
yeah.
I have questions lined up and then they just kind of float out of my head.
It's okay.
Um, I think it was something to do with your next show. I think actually.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about, especially with this whole COVID situation kind of going on,
Yeah.
um, what you actually have to go through nowadays to actually set up a gig and get these things done.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a lot different. For sure. I One of the biggest challenges is like kind of every venue's approach is different. And I know Calgary. I'm thankful to be in Calgary because Calgary's been fairly creative with their venues. Two of the venues we played, Blues Can and Ironwood, we've both played uh, multiple times since the kind of quarantine and the COVID, and yeah, they both ended up setting plexiglass shields up because part of the recommendations were kind of against singing, and so those kind of allowed them to get around that. And so when I perform there, I go in like a booth, and I'm but almost separate from the band. We used to do harmonies, and we don't do that anymore just because of this. But I'm in my little booth, and it's definitely really weird, but it works, and we're able to perform for people. So that's kind of making the best of it.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. That would be kind of weird because yeah, that's so. Do you guys do warm ups beforehand, or like how do you do that then?
Yeah, like um, I guess the biggest issue that with it is kind of trying to communicate with the band because like how they have it set up in some of these venues, I'm almost off to the back side of the band, whereas normally I'm used to standing right in front of them, and they can see me cueing things with my guitar. I can even turn around and yell at them. We need to really hit something. So that, but I think it's almost helped us become more kind of tighter as a band and rely more on our ears to kind of cue hits and cue endings. So that's kind of cool, but it's definitely been an adjustment, a bit of a challenge. So
Right. And so in between gigs or whatever else you might be doing,
yeah,
when you guys do kind of jam together, like do you have social distancing you're doing when you practice or
um,
whatever?
when we initially started, we were being careful, but I think we decided we're kind of it's like the word they use, like a cohort, like we're a family, right? So we yeah, it doesn't really we don't really need to worry about that as a band, but I definitely in the beginning we were careful. We ended up rehearsing somewhere else that was spaced out, and then we kind of always all decided we're in this together, so
Fair
yeah.
enough. Yeah, yeah. And just out of curiosity, have you done a lot of other interviews as of yet?
Yeah, a few. I've been on a couple of podcast type things like this. There's a
Okay.
couple local podcasts. Yeah, interviews are. I'm learning. They're cool. They're it's definitely weird over the I guess this whatever StreamYard whatever they're using here,
Yeah,
but
right.
Skype
Yeah, it's
whatever.
definitely different. Um, I know actually for me, it's actually become a bit of an advantage,
Mm,
just because it does allow people just do it from the comfort of wherever they're from or at the
Yeah,
time,
for
right?
sure.
So it's actually opened a couple more opportunities for me, which is nice.
Yeah.
But so have you, like with the podcast and everything else, has it always just been kind of you doing them, or have you done it as a band as well, like someone else?
It's usually just me. I've done we back in May of last year, we had the opportunity to film a segment. It was for a TV show they're putting to kind of feature musicians, and I don't think it ever made it to air, but it was like we got to perform a couple tunes, and they interviewed us as a band there, which was cool. It's called The Moment, I believe, and it might still be in the works, which is it's weird because it's been a really long time, but yeah,
Okay, and you guys actually have a YouTube channel as well.
yeah,
And on that
yeah.
YouTube channel, like, are you guys just kind of posting live gigs at this point,
Um,
or do you
I
guys
haven't
actually have like a music video? Like, have you done any of that or anything?
uh, we we don't have a music video. We've done some recording like live videos, from gigs and stuff, and yeah, definitely gonna get on that stuff soon this year. So people want to check out the YouTube channel, they can do that.
Right.
Marcus
Like,
Trummer.
yes, absolutely. And you're also on Spotify.
Mhm.
I think you just have one title at this point on there, I think, though, right?
Yeah, that was our first tune we released 2018, so it's been 2 years. So
Okay. And was that like, did you do that recording in house or did you do it in a studio or?
yeah, that was the story on that was part of the National Music Center Jam Club. Um, uh, there was it wasn't actually recorded all with the same members I have now, but some members of the Jam Club, we got together one day, and we weren't in the actual like Studio Bell space they have down there, but we were in just like a classroom type environment, and we got to borrow some of their gear and set up some mics and kind of do it DIY ourselves. We obviously had help from the mentors there to kind of to mix it and all, but yeah, that was our first single, and it's been I just kind of wanted to get something out there, especially while I was still in high school. So now we took some time to kind of get this next EP right, and I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, first song comes out in a week on Thursday. So
On Thursday. Nice.
yeah.
So put that in your calendars, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I've got a couple other musician friends, and I know a lot of or the ones I do know, they basically have their own setup in their house
Mm.
or wherever. Do you kind of have that set up as well, or
For recording,
just for recording?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I have like just a very basic setup. You can't really record a full band with it because that gets really challenging, especially with drums. You need a lot of mics and a lot of inputs on your interface. But I can definitely do solo recording projects, and yeah, that's definitely popular to be able to demo things and send them off to people. So
Like, do you do
it's
some of your song brainstorming that way, or?
yeah, that's kind of I've you know make demos and send them off to a producer you're working with, and then you can give feedback and go back and forth, or you can make them to send to if you're working with you know a sideman filling in for one of your band members who can't make it to the gig. I send them a demo I've made at home, and I mean we can record like drums and stuff. It's just not like high quality because yeah, you'd need a lot more mics, much of much a much more advanced setup than what I have. But you know,
Right.
one step at a time. Who knows? I might have a thousands of dollars home studio one day. We'll see.
right? Lined up with your platinum records on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
No,
see.
no,
For
I
sure.
hear you. And have you sent out demos to like different recording studios and stuff like that, or like some of the bigger name studio names?
Right. Not really. Like, I know there's definitely a thing in the past where it was, really trying hard to get signed, and I think nowadays it's become uh, less of a kind of make or break thing to be signed. So definitely, just trying to build up on my own, and then definitely get on the radar of some labels and some bigger up people. I mean, it'd be really cool to work with like an established producer one day, because that kind of puts a stamp of approval on your project, on your album when you release it, and that can really do big things for you. So I guess we'll see.
Right.
We'll see where it goes. But yeah.
Do you have, so this is kind of two-part. Do you have um, a producer that you have in mind that you'd really like to work with, and also another band you'd like to work with or artist?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me think here. Um, band is tough. I one of my nowadays one of my kind of biggest idols is Marcus King, which is kind of weird because I'm Marcus Trummer. He has a band, and I think it'd be really cool to meet him and just get to jam with him someday, because I think he's kind of yeah, in my opinion, one of the best guitar players of this time. And yeah, either him or the Derek Trucks Tedeschi Trucks band, which would be really cool. They're both they've both been super big influences. So if I got to meet them or jam with them or open for them, I mean, that would be a dream come true. As far as producers too, I'm I, I'm a big fan of Dave Cobb. He's he works with a lot of artists I'm a fan of, like Chris Stapleton and Jason Isabel and stuff. In kind of more, a little bit more in like the country-ish roots in the in that scene, but I think he'd be a sweet producer to work with. One of the best I've heard for sure as a producer.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's fair. Um, you also have a website right now. Is there a lot of information on there at this point, or is it just kind of a?
It's fairly bare bones, but if you follow on it, there's you can sign up for my email list on there, and I send out kind of a newsletter every once in a while, updating you on things. That's definitely the best place to, if you want information about when we're playing gigs and releasing music. And we list all our shows on there, as well as um, yeah, keep people updated on there. There's no store or anything on there yet, but
Okay.
there will be eventually.
And is your next gig at Mikey's? Is that on the website right now?
I
I have.
believe
I
so.
didn't look at it, so to be
Yeah.
honest.
But that one, there's no pre-sale tickets. You can call them to reserve a table if you want to come see us, or just come the day of. There should be room.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Just
next
at the door.
Saturday.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And the one thing I wanted to mention, by the way, for folks that are watching, I forgot to mention this in the beginning. If you do have questions or anything for myself or Marcus, please ask. Or if you have a request. But yeah, no, that's what the show is about, the crowd interaction. So please remember to chime in if you like.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing I was going to ask. Oh, I really should write this down on paper instead of on the computer. Oh, is there a specific venue that you've really been excited to be a part of? Like, for example, the festival that you did last year, or whatever the case may be. Is there one that that ties as a really strong memory for you, or one
There's
that in the future that you'd like to do venue-wise?
oh yeah, well, there's definitely a few that have been super cool. Definitely the festival atmosphere is that's something I really kind of aspired to originally when I was first playing music, and so being a part of the blues festival, we did kind of their opening night. It wasn't on the festival grounds. We were actually at the King Eddie in Calgary. Um, Still super cool to be a part of it. And then I've played at Waynestock Music Festival, which is near Drumheller, and that's definitely one of the more memorable venues I've played. It's just it's super cool. It's right in kind of one of the valleys off the side. It's Wayne, Alberta, and they have an old saloon there, and then they set up tents and stages, and it's really cool. I mean, you can kind of get the vibe Waynestock, so it's got definitely a lot of friendly people, and that was a really cool gig for us. And Blues at the Bow is a really sweet venue. That's it's like I think it's an old theater. They showed maybe a film theater, I think, and it was kind of converted into a blues venue. And they've had a lot of really good blues artists there over the years. And yeah, it's just a really cool place. They have like it's in Bow Island, which is a super small town, and everyone kind of shows up when you play. So it's a pretty sweet gig there. And yeah, as far as aspired to, I don't know. I think dream venue of all time would be getting to play like Red Rocks in Denver. I think that would be crazy, but yeah, eventually.
Eventually, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are kind of getting closer to the end of the show here, and we do want to get another song in for sure.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of let you get set up with the song,
Yeah.
and just remind people that while the song is playing, if you think of any questions you'd like to ask or anything like that, just make sure you pop them in, and then we'll have a couple more minute chat after the song, and go on our merry way. So
Perfect.
I'll let you introduce the title and how the song came about and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. This next song is called "Waiting for the Storm to Pass," and it's going to be released on Thursday. Also, as part of that upcoming EP, but it's the EP kind of all has that kind of theme of trying to stay positive through life and kind of through the challenges that it throws at us. So that's kind of what this song's about as well. And it's yeah, I kind of wrote it not like about not worrying about the future, even though sometimes it can definitely be worrisome. So. Let's give her a go here. Each step I take, I don't know where it leads. Each smile, it gets harder to see. Time keeps moving and I keep losing track of where I started. Sometimes what you want ain't what you need. 'Cause I just keep on getting up again, trying to figure out who the hell I am, searching for the truth. something to see like there's a death goes strong in my mind. Just along my soul singing, hit the dial, oh no, one less slow in the spot. Love knows how I'm the Annapolis. I'm just waiting for slow on the bed. Waiting for the storm. Yes. As I throw myself through every open door, just to find myself right where I was before. Now I take a part of the great Lord. Nobody told me what I could be searching for. Yeah. Nobody told me what I should be searching for. But I just keep on getting up again, trying to figure out who the hell I am, searching for the truth and to see life is that no strong in my mind. Just allow my soul singing in the dial, oh no, one last low is like to Lord knows how I'm Annapolis. I'm just waiting for stuff on the page. Waiting for stuff on the page. Can you feel darkness? Oh, is it? Oh, 'cause I know it might get a little lonely, but I know that it's not the end. 'Cause I just keep on getting up again, trying to figure out who I am, searching for the truth. There's a death row song in my mind, yeah. Just along my soul singing, hear the dial, oh no, one that's low on the spot. So Lord knows how I'm Annapolis. I'm just ready for slow on the page. Ready for slow on the page, yeah. Waiting for the slow on the page. I will wait for the snow. Yeah. Waiting for the snow on the page. We're waiting for the snow on the page.
Awesome. Thanks
Yeah,
again, man. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, we did have a couple questions
oh,
pop
cool.
up, so that was good. The first one was, and they got in a little bit late, but they were just asking if your family was musical, which we did touch on a little bit.
Yeah.
I am a little curious though. Like I know we talked about your dad, and of course your brother
Yeah.
plays the drums as well, and your mom. Was it musical before that as well, like your grandparents type deal as well, or is it more?
No, I think it kind of was more with my parents. Don't think it went too far back,
Okay.
though. My last name Trummer is kind of, I don't know, might have something to do with it. Maybe drummer, guitar strummer. Who knows?
Fair enough. Why not, right? One of the other questions was, what was your first paid gig?
Oh yeah, paid gig. It's a challenge. I'm trying to remember because, yeah, when I first started, getting into open mics, and then it kind of slowly transitioned to cafes and coffee shops and stuff. So I think it was one of those. I don't know exactly in particular which one, but I think it might have been a singer-songwriter circle at like a cafe, and I think it might have even only been for tips or something. Walked away with like $15 or something, but yeah, I
Right.
think that was probably the first gig I had. So
Okay. All right. And just out of do you recall how that went? Like what the reception was like from
yeah,
the folks watching, or?
yeah, no, those first gigs were definitely good. I like my first time performing my original music. I went down to an open mic and I could hardly play guitar. I was so bad at guitar, so I actually didn't even bother playing guitar. I brought along, I think, like a CD or something. I had burned like a track, and this was an original song I had written, and I think I made like loops on GarageBand and made it into something, and then they were really like confused. Like, this is an open mic. Why are you bringing? It's not a karaoke thing. But then I think when they realized that I had written the song, they were kind of like, okay, we'll give you a chance. And it went all right. I remember being super nervous, which is like crazy because I don't really get nervous anymore. So yeah, I mean, that was probably the last time I was like that nervous, like in the bathroom before, like shaking. But and then yeah, I got into those kind of like singer-songwriter type shows, usually with a couple friends. So I met some good local musicians that were kind of up and coming at the same time as me, and definitely I don't really have any like super horrible memories of being you know booed, kicked off the stage. Who knows? Tomatoes thrown at me.
Yeah. Well,
Now I have
based on what I've heard, I don't foresee that happening. So I think you're
yeah.
good.
Now I have the plexiglass though in front of me, so I'm safe.
So you're protected. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, you kind of brought up a good point, which I didn't think about earlier, was the whole being nervousness thing.
Mm.
And do you remember a time where it kind of just changed, where you were no longer nervous, or just
Yeah,
a
I mean,
gradual thing?
I think it was fairly gradual. Um, I was never like horribly nervous in the beginning, but it's like I still get nervous when I'm approaching like really unfamiliar situations. So, when we were taping for that TV show, The Moment, that was kind of the first time I'd kind of done that type of thing where I'm playing, it's being filmed. There's like 10 cameras, and like if I think we had like 2 shots to get the song right, and whatever we do is recorded and could potentially be seen by lots of people. So that type of situation, I might get a little nervous, but yeah, it must be just like experience over time, kind of dwindled.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
One of the other questions, which we kind of touched on a little bit, was any other musical instruments you play? Um,
Right.
like we did touch on the trombone there in the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you play drums? Are there other instruments you
I
do play?
don't really play drums. No, I'm not. I'm not very good at them. I just don't have the ability to multitask it quite like that. But the yeah, the trombone, I that was in school, and did some jazz stuff through that outside of school as well. And then, but since then, it's just guitar and singing and writing songs. So
And like I know you did state that the guitar was your instrument of choice.
yeah.
But is there another instrument that you would like to kind of delve into a bit?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'd like to learn a bit more about like keys, playing, piano and organs and stuff. But when I have time one day, I'll get into it.
Fair
'Cause
enough.
that's definitely one of my favorite sounds for sure. It's like a keyboard on a, yeah. So maybe
Yeah.
I will.
Okay. No, that's fair. We have reached our hour limit, so yeah, no, that was great. I want to thank Marcus for joining us. I want to thank the folks for watching and the questions. Wish you, of course, the best of luck, and looking forward to the EP actually being released. And just so you folks that are watching know, you got a chance to actually hear 2 of the songs from the EP before it's released. So there you go. And you can also check out Marcus on Monday nights. I think you're going to continue doing the Facebook stuff for a while, right?
Yeah. It's probably for a little while here. It'll continue. So
Yeah, until you get too busy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough. So I will get Marcus to kind of hang back for a second after we log off for the day. But again, thank you everybody else for watching. Just had another comment that said, "Thanks for sharing your story and your music. Keep up the great work." So there you go.
Awesome. Thank you.
And and I'm looking forward to this EP coming out. I'm looking forward to let me know when it is released, and I will totally share it on the Talent Talk Facebook page and website and all that stuff for you. So just let me know about that.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. And thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next week. And just so everybody knows, next week's guest is this guy, Mark Meir. If you're not familiar with him, he plays Commander Shepard on the Mass Effect video game series. Yeah, he's a voiceover king, really. So tune in for that, and it'll be a fun interview, I'm sure. And thanks again to Marcus, and we will chat with you all next week.
Cheers.